Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Brittany and I do videos on lifestyle, adulting, and just figuring it out together. So, where to begin? This is kind of a catch-up video because I haven't posted in quite a while, and it's December. It's December and the year is almost done. And I've been reflecting and looking back at this year and thinking about next year and all the things I want to accomplish. And I do the thing where I'm just like, January 1st, I'm going to start doing all of these amazing things and I'm going to make this, big change in my life and accomplish all the things and start being consistent in all the things that I want to do. And, all these grand plans. And then as I was sitting thinking about it, I'm like, why not just start now, right? Like, why not give myself these extra 2 to 3 weeks? 3 weeks to get a head start then. If January is this big turnaround time for me, more time and effort placed into what it is that I want to do can only do me good. So I figured I have a bunch of video ideas, I have a bunch of things that I want to do and a bunch of content that I want to create. So I'm going to start with a little catch up since it has been a while and so much has happened. So much has happened that I want to share, that I'm excited to share. And hopefully you guys will enjoy hearing about it. Okay. So I'm trying not to make this like a whole year recap because I actually want to do a whole how my 2023 went because it has been an absolute roller coaster. For those of you who don't know, I completely packed up my whole life and moved provinces at the beginning of this year, and where I am right now is completely different from where I started off at. And so many lessons, so many gems, so many highlights, heartbreaks. So much happened, but I feel like that's a whole other video. So here is kind of my catch up as to what I've been doing and where I'm at right now and kind of what the next steps are gonna be. So grab your beverage. Don't mind, okay? We're recycling, reusing, limiting our carbon footstep. Plus all my cups are in the dishwasher. But grab a drink, come and sit with me as we kind of talk about where I've been, what I've been doing, and where I'm at right now. Okay, so first of all, I started a new job and it has been absolutely amazing. So I graduated university in 2020 and I've had the opportunity of working at these amazing places and meeting amazing people. But honestly, a lot of times I never felt compensated for the work that I've been doing and for the skill set that I know I have. Little pat on the shoulder there. And so when I saw this job that I now have, I didn't think I was qualified enough for it. And I kind of applied to it or for it on a whim, not really thinking I was gonna get it. But I have a friend in Jesus. Well, no, I have a friend. And honestly, she is one of the biggest supporters, one of the persons who pours into me the most. And she would just be like, apply. Like, you're qualified, you have skills, you have the talent, just apply. And so with that voice playing in my head, I went ahead and applied and I got the job. And I feel like for being in my mid-20s, I'm quite happy with where I'm at. I anticipate going so much further and doing so much more and getting so much more money, because let's be honest, that's a part of it. But I started a new job and it has been such a blessing because it's pushed me beyond some of the limits that I thought I had and given me a lot more reassurance in my own strengths and capabilities. And it's just opened up the pathway for me mentally to continue to climb this ladder and to just become this person. And I feel like when you're starting out your career and when you're starting out in the workplace, especially as in your 20s, fresh out of uni or college or even high school, everyone's just like, listen, don't jump jobs. It doesn't look good on your resume. You need to build rapport in a company. You need to, build your circle and and ties and all of that. And those are all valid points, but I would never encourage someone to miss out on an opportunity because they're afraid of not having these long time periods in a particular job. And I think especially when you're in your 20s and you're moving around and you're figuring out what it is that you want to do, it's completely fair to hop, skip, and jump if you have the opportunity to do so. And I'm like, in this past year, I've hop, skipped, and jumped quite a bit career-wise, or job-wise, still within the same career, I guess you'd say. And I've been asked that question by people interviewing me, like, oh, like, you didn't spend as much time in this job, what happened? And my response would always be quite honest, like, it wasn't for me. You know, I applied, I appreciated the opportunity and the experience that I gained there and the knowledge that I gained there. But as somebody who is still learning about myself and who's still growing, I tried this job and it was not for me. And so far, everyone that I've interviewed with and I've shared that with them, they've been completely understanding, and they've just been like, yeah, no, we get it. And they've given me a fair shot at coming in and trying my hand at whatever role it is. And, you know, like, if it didn't click and it didn't stick and it wasn't for me, they're very supportive in me moving forward. And so I didn't feel like I burnt any bridges unnecessarily. And because I was willing to take that risk, I am in I am in so much of a better place than I was a couple months ago. And if I had listened to like the naysayers and the people who have that kind of more traditional old school idea of like a job and a career, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And I don't know, mentally, financially, emotionally, how I would have continued to survive. But take the risk, take the job, apply, be delusional. It's not delusional, it's having faith in yourself. And just trust that you are capable and deserving of great things. So when I moved in the beginning of the year, I had previously been in a toxic situationship, is what we'll call it, with a horrible person. Okay, maybe we won't say they were a horrible person, but with a person that was not healthy for me. And in retrospect, no, I was gonna say I wasn't healthy for them either, but they weren't healthy for me. And I took a pause from dating because I needed time to heal, and I had just moved, and I was like, okay, like, I'm gonna get my footing together and then put myself out there. So went online dating because that's what everyone does nowadays. I don't have a social life, to be honest, so there's no other way for me to meet people. So I decided to try my hand at online dating. Again, it's not my first time, but you know, you go through the cycles of going, talking to people, deleting the app, and then coming back around because then you get bored. And I matched with quite a few people and talked to them, and for some of them I was just like, oh, like, I like talking to you, but I know it's not gonna go anywhere. And I remember when I met up with the first person that I matched with and they invited me out, it didn't go well. And as soon as I left, I think I blocked them, and I had sent a message like, yo, like, I just don't think it's gonna work, because I believe in being transparent, and then I blocked them afterwards. And then the second person that I went out with, we hit it off quite well, and it was a very good experience in the beginning, and then we hit some turbulence. Some waves rose up out of the sea and swallowed the ship that I was on. And so that that season came to an end. But I feel like it was an amazing experience. And as someone who grew up quite religious from a Caribbean background where, you know, you weren't allowed to date when you were a teenager, and you kind of enter your late teens to your early 20s, and you're trying to navigate and figure it out, and you don't have much idea of what to look for or how to go about it. I think for that experience alone, it was good for me to learn more about myself and more about what it is that I'm looking for, and how to be a bit more assertive in kind of my search for, you know, like a lifelong partner, you know, a future husband, the future father to my children. And saying all of that is quite scary. But I think especially these past couple of months, I've really been working on putting out there what it is that I really want and what it is that I desire for myself. And those are all things that I want. And I feel like society nowadays tries to kind of diminish those things, you know, like, oh, if your aspiration as a woman is to be a wife and a mother, then you're not as driven, right? And mind you, I want the success, I want the money, I want the impact of my talents and what it is that I bring to this world to be, you know, life changing and to make waves. But at the same time, I still want that life. And I think they can both coexist within the same person, within the same life, and be given equal opportunity to grow and flourish within the same person. And so that's kind of my goal. Oh, how did I get here? Yeah, so now we're kind of back to figuring out ourselves, taking a step back from intentional dating and just really investing in self once more. And I think it's so important, like, if you've been in a relationship, whether or not it was super serious, or regardless of the time that it took from you or the time that you chose to invest in it, I think when that season comes to an end, or if you're in a period of deciding what the next steps are, it's good to take that time to just reflect and to really give yourself that opportunity to feel and to decide what it is that you want, or what it is that is best for you and for future you as well. Because I feel like as women, sometimes we settle because we feel like we're getting, you know, too old, or we feel like, you know, well, I haven't dated anyone before in a long time and this person comes along. What if no one else comes along? Or what if it takes a very long time for the next person to come along? Don't settle. I think the biggest thing that I've learned in my dating experience, which is not very vast, it's not to settle, because we're all beautiful human beings and we all have so much to offer, but we can only offer it in such a way that's healthy to the right person. Otherwise, it's not going to be received and it's not going to be reciprocated, which is equally as important. Lastly is just, I turned 25 this year, and you know, studies have shown that our prefrontal cortex, which is the part of our brain that's in the front that deals with emotional regulation, decision making, and all of that good stuff that really plays an impact on our personality and how it is that we navigate life. That's when that fully develops. And let me tell you, on the midnight of when I turned 25, I felt it grow. I felt it grow, and I swear that by the next day, I was a changed woman. All jokes aside though, it's so beautiful to see when I'm in certain situations that I handle them with a lot more grace and maturity and wisdom. Like, it's no longer just emotionally driven. And if you've known me, especially teen me, I am an emotional person, and I'm quite driven by my emotions, which has led me to make questionable decisions in the past. But it's such a beautiful thing to just be like, oh, okay, this is a situation, this is how I'm going to handle it, and be able to move forward a lot quicker and in a lot, you know, more of a mature and responsible way. And it's so crazy to me because there are days that I can't believe that I'm 25. I'm actually about to be 24. See? 26 in a couple months. But I think as much as there's so much anxiety that comes with aging and growing older, and I think at every stage of life it's there, you know, like what the next steps will bring, and comparing where you are to where you would want to be at a certain age. Every step of it really is just a journey that you have to embrace for what it is in that moment. And this isn't how I imagined my 25th year. I didn't expect to be in a whole other province, starting from scratch, just basically for the first couple of months, especially just by myself, figuring it out quite alone. But it's such a beautiful experience when you sit back and you're like, okay, it might not have been what it is that I wanted, but in so many ways it is what I needed. And I think the work that I've put in now, and all that I've accomplished, and all that I'm striving to accomplish, and all the energy that I'm putting into these things now will definitely pay off in a couple of years. And I'm so looking forward to that. And because I have had that mindset shift, the anxiety and the fear of turning 26 is no longer as prominent. It's still there. It's still there because it's still a transition, a season of, you know, uncertainty and not knowing what it's going to bring. But I think once you've gotten to that place of accepting that there are certain things we can control and there are certain things that we can't, and really knowing the difference between those and coming to peace with it, it makes life so much easier. So much easier. And I think it's just such an amazing thing. It is. I think that was 5 or 4. But yeah, that is kind of what I've been up to. That's my kind of catch up. I'm going on vacation in a couple of weeks to hang out with my family, and I'm so excited, and I'm just so blessed to be where I'm at, to be able to afford to go on vacation, like to just be able to take time off work, to have a job, to have an apartment, to have a car, to have, you know, peace and family that loves me. I think those are also things that, especially when you're on social media, people highlight, you know, the nice cars and the amazing houses that they buy. And I think, you know, especially as you're growing and you're building yourself up, sometimes you have to be reminded that sometimes the things that you can't buy are the things that you should value the most. Relationships and your friends that stick by you and your family that loves you and chooses you every day. And I think as you get older, the more you learn to appreciate those things, because especially for those of us who have healthy and happy family members, and our relationships with our family are healthy and we appreciate them, you recognize that not everyone has that. Before I go off on another tangent, that is it for today's video. And as always, remember that you are beautiful, you are loved, you are enough.